Hi everyone, my name's Josh, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to see just how dangerous airless spraying can be. So today we've got a bit of a different video for you on a slightly different topic from the usual things we talk about, and it's something that's really important. I often find myself casually saying in videos that this unit can spray up to 3000 psi and this one can go up to 4000 psi. And what we don't often hear about is the dangers associated with this. At this point, I'd like to put up some images of high pressure injection injuries so you can really see what can happen if you don't respect the equipment, but unfortunately YouTube would remove the video. So if you type in high pressure injection injuries into Google Images, you'll see exactly what I mean. So what can happen if you get a high pressure injection injury? Basically, it's never going to be good news, and a study has shown that 80% of high pressure injection injuries from equipment like airless sprayers ends in some form of amputation, so be it a finger, a hand or an arm. Also, if the material gets into your bloodstream or through into an artery, this could go directly to your heart or to your brain and could be fatal. With spraying in general becoming more and more popular, I feel we have a responsibility to educate people on the dangers involved. You can pick up a basic airless sprayer from a lot more suppliers than you used to be able to, so you can pick them up from decorators merchants, DIY shops and even supermarkets. And unfortunately, not all the people in those shops who are selling this equipment understand the dangers involved or the potential consequences. That also applies to jet washers as well. So you can't buy an aerosol paint can until you're 16, but you can buy a jet wash or airless sprayer capable of spraying over 1000 psi at any age. Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me, especially if the people selling them have no knowledge or very little training on them. Spraying at high pressure should never be taken for granted and should always be respected. So in today's video, I'm hopefully going to be able to show you and demonstrate how much damage it can do. So I've been to the butchers and I've asked them for all the spare pig skin they had, so I hope you appreciate the sacrifices I make for this channel because I look pretty weird doing that. The idea of this is to show you what happens when you pull the trigger of a high pressure gun when it's held against your skin. Pig skin's obviously a bit different to human skin, but I asked around the office and no one was volunteering. So we'll be testing for a few different things today, and the key one for me is with and without this guard. So the idea of this guard is to allow the material coming out the front of the gun to lose just enough speed and velocity to stop it from injecting your skin. Now it scares me with the amount of people I see who damage this part of the guard or complain about getting build up, so they just cut it off without understanding its purpose. When a material is coming out of our airless gun, it's travelling at several hundred miles an hour depending on the pressure we're spraying at. So we'll also be testing different pressures to see what effect that has. Pig skin obviously has different properties to human skin, and I genuinely don't know how this is going to go. So let's head over to our testing area and see what happens. Okay, so I'm at a little test chamber now. I've got the pig skin loaded up, ready to try out. I've got a load more of it here to try out as well and test different things. So I'm using a Graco air operated airless unit, so a Merca, just straight airless, not air assisted. I'll be testing different pressures and I'll be testing the difference between having a guard and not having a guard, with a tip, without a spray tip, and just seeing what the different results are. Okay, so first up we've got a gun with a guard at 1000 psi, we've got 517 tip in there, and I'm using black paint so you can see what I'm doing. Pig skin seems to be okay. Okay, so next up we've got exactly the same, 1000 psi, but with a gun with the guard where it's broken off. So we're a lot closer to the surface. Okay, so now we've got 2000 psi with a guard, so let's give that a go, see what happens there. So 2000 psi with a guard, see if we have any change. Okay, so now we've got 2000 psi without a guard, see if that makes a difference. Okay, so you can see 2000 psi without a guard has left a little mark there. That's indentation in the skin that you can feel. And the only difference there is that one had a guard on and the other didn't. So that could be the difference between injecting your skin and not. So let's crank up the pressure a bit more and see what happens. Okay, so now we're going to do 3000 psi with a guard and see if that leaves a mark. Okay, so this is a really useful comparison to see. So we can see there's a black mark here which was 3000 psi with a guard, but it's not nearly as deep as 2000 psi without a guard, so you can see the value in having it there. So interested to see what 3000 psi without a guard is going to look like. So let's give that a go. Okay, 3000 psi without a guard now. So if we go between the two. So we went between the two. As you can see, another pretty harsh mark in the middle there. When compared to 3000 psi with a guard there, compared to that, you can see the line is much darker, so it's actually cutting in, and I can definitely feel that with my finger even through the glove. Not as harsh on the 2000 psi, but you can definitely feel it on the 3000. And that would definitely leave a mark. Pigskin's probably a bit tougher than human skin, so that could go a lot further through and into your bloodstream. But what we'll do now is try it without a guard and tip and just do it straight off the front of the gun. Okay, so now we've got 3000 psi straight off the front of the gun. Okay, so we made a bit of a mess on that last one, but it was worth doing. So we can see our mark here's there, that's where we fired. And we can see on the other side, it's actually gone right the way through and injected into the fleshy part itself. So that would not be doing you any favours, and you'd be in quite a lot of trouble if that was to happen to you. So that was 3000 psi without a tip or guard. Okay, so we got another go at 3000 psi without the tip and guard on the front of the gun. Wow! .3000 psi without a guard and tip on the front of the gun. Let's see if that's gone through. Wow, I can feel that's blistered on the other side. Let's give this clean off and check it out. Okay, so we've just done our last test at 3000 psi. That's without a guard and without a tip. And on every test on this fresh bit of pigskin we've got here, it went through on every occasion. So it gave different results. So I've got a slit here where it's cut through and gone through cleanly, and then the paint's come through on the other side. Then on this one here, which is pretty bad, it's gone in there, and then you can see on the other side we've actually got a big blister of paint that's ready to pop, or a couple more seconds of pulling the trigger, or another fraction of a second pulling the trigger, that could then burst and get into your bloodstream as well. So really can't express to you guys enough how much you need to look after this equipment and how safe you need to be with it, and really can be quite dangerous. I think one of the most interesting things for me about that was the difference between having a guard and not having a guard, and it really showed the importance of it. So the results with 3000 psi with a guard made less of an impact on the skin than 2000 psi without a guard. So it really shows the value of having one in good condition. So the purpose of this video wasn't to scare people about spraying, but we feel you're better off knowing what can happen so you can avoid it, rather than, God forbid, finding out the hard way. Injuries of this type aren't overly common, but they do happen more than they should. And the only real way to combat that is better education and a better understanding of the equipment by the people using it. Well, I hope this video has been useful, and it's certainly been an interesting one for me to film. I'll put a link in the description below to more information on injection injuries, so if you wanted to find out a bit more, you can check it out there. If you've liked the video and found it helpful, then please hit the thumbs up icon, and if you wanted to find out more and get access to exclusive offers, then please subscribe to the channel, and also hit the notification bell so you get a little notification when we upload a new video. That way you aren't going to miss out on any new offers or content. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.